Yo, what's going on, everyone? My name is Jesse. This is the Auditorium. I react to video game music for the first time as a musician myself, and today is the return of Halo. This is Halo Reach, and apparently this is the prequel to the last game they made. We are listening to, Dead Ahead and Ashes from the channels Hypocrisy 117 and Skill Tree Records. I'm noticing 117 is kind of like a thing with Halo. I think I even did a song called that. But yeah, Halo Reach. They seem, I'm noticing that like either all the games or most of them are from these two composers, Marty O'Donnell and Michael Salvatore. I don't know, did they ever branch out? Was it just always been their baby? These are pretty short. Okay, Dead Ahead, Halo Reach. Oh, requested by Pook Supreme. Ooh. This is different already. Let me see the orchestral stuff. Is there something in the sky? Right there? I don't know if that's a cloud shape or something. Ooh. This is very different for me. Halo is usually, from what I've heard, not like this. Interesting. It's like not a guitar, but it's like made to sound like it. So it's like a really distorted patch on a keyboard. You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of like the music from like Twisted Metal. It's like that like late 90s, early 2000s kind of millennium edgy rock. Very Rob Zombie and stuff like that. Electronic. What the heck? The full piece heard during the battle on the beach during Long Night of Solace. This is a weird song. Yeah, like it won't stay put. It keeps changing. Oh, this game's rated 9 out of 10. I think this is the heaviest song I've heard from Halo. I'm pretty sure. Okay. Yeah, so to my knowledge, everything I've heard thus far from Halo has been more or less something along the lines of like the main theme, which is like that like kind of slow orchestral cinematic music, even though I'm not even sure where those other songs play, but they feel like kind of like cutscene music or something. This could be a cutscene too, but it felt more like a mini game or like a trial or some kind of small section. I don't know like how else to explain it, but just like maybe like a side area or a bonus area, and then you're just there because it's like a very loopable and just kind of stagnant, which is not bad, but that's the kind of feeling it gave me. But yeah, it's interesting hearing like this kind of heavier side. Maybe it's just a Reach thing, or I just haven't heard enough from Halo, which I definitely haven't. I think over the past 3 or 4 years, I've heard maybe 8 Halo songs, maybe less. So Halo Reach is an FPS developed by Bungie the 6th installment of the Halo series, and a direct prequel to Halo Combat Evolved. Ah, that's what it was. Reach was 2010. Damn. 15 years ago. You feel old yet? No way 2010 was 15 years ago. Fuck. And it's September. Oh, dude. Yeah. 15 years and 1 month old. The game takes place in the year 2552, where humanity is locked in a war with an alien theocracy known as the Covenant, which seeks to exterminate humanity. Those damn aliens. Okay, everything else probably spoilers or something. Now, without getting like way into it, why the name? And why not just like Halo? Well, I don't know. Is this considered a numbered series? Or I don't like, I'm trying to word this right. I don't know if there's a Halo 4. I think there is, but I could be wrong. I know there's Halo 2, there's Halo 3 ODST, and I forgot what that was different about 3. So I'm not sure if there's a 4. There's Combat Evolved and there's Reach. Well, I guess my question is how come they're not all numbered? Or if they're just like, well, I guess this is a prequel, right? But is Combat Evolved one? Or maybe it is one, but they don't call it that. I don't know anything about Halo. I do have fond memories though. Like I've said it before, but this was a game that I always had PlayStation growing up. And Halo came out specifically at the time I kind of stopped playing games. Kind of like in my later teens, or like early teens to late teens. The only time I played games at this point, like high school, was like going to a friend's house or something, and they just happened to have like a 360 or something to play COD or Halo, and that was it. Like that was my experience with Halo. It was either or. Either you liked Call of Duty or you liked Halo. You didn't like both, even though it was totally fine to like both. But I just remember specifically like just playing like locally with friends and like the plasma sword and sticky grenades. To my knowledge, the first time I ever even heard of sticky grenades ever was in Halo. I don't know if any other game had that before that, but the first time I ever heard of it or saw it was Halo. And I was just like, oh my god, that's so cool. I could just throw it at them and it sticks to them. And I just have fond memories of that, like the needler. I don't know if that's what it's called, but the needle gun, the sword, and the stickies, and of course jumping around like crazy. It's honestly funny how like speaking of COD, like they saw the success of that and try to do it with their own with was it Infinite? It was one of the weird, it was this futuristic one where it's basically Halo, and it was like considered one of the worst Call of Duties. But that's subjective. But like I'm just saying, it's one of those things where it's like stay in your lane, let the futuristic shooters be the futuristic shooters, and blah 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 blah. But yeah, I don't know anything about it. I just know that it's I do wonder what makes it stick out. It's and I don't mean this in any mean way at all. I'm saying this from an outside perspective because I've never been interested in Xbox or anything. I've always saw Halo as just like, and I'm being sincere, as just like another shooter. Because there's so many of them, at this time, Killzone, COD, Medal of Honor, there were so many already. And futuristic shooters too. So what do you think made this stand out besides like, I know there was like heavy advertisement. Like Microsoft put like all their resources into it. But what do you think it was? Not that it doesn't deserve it. Was it the story that made it stick? The gameplay definitely helped. Or is it the fact that it was like the Xbox FPS? I don't know, I'm so curious about it. I've been curious about Halo since I was a teenager, honestly. And the only times I get to talk about it or anything is just right here. So, anyways, really cool. Apparently it's for a mission. Battle on the beach during Long Night of Solace. Cool. I think the heaviest song I heard from Halo. Let's see what this one's about. This is Ashes. I wonder if they're related. Ashes usually sounds like Aftermath, so Ashes. Sounds like Aftermath. Something happened here. Whoa. I can't tell if Halo has a sound to it. There's a lot of variety in it. Like, I'm not familiar with it enough where I think it's like, oh, that's Halo. It's hard to pinpoint, which is cool. Cello. You know, to go back on what I said about what made it stand out, it was probably the soundtrack too. An FPS that sounds like this is kind of probably sounded so ahead of its time back then. I'm surprised this hasn't been adapted into a movie by now. It seems like the perfect recipe, doesn't it? The music's already cinematic. Sci-fi, I don't know. Or maybe it's been done already and I don't know. Or where they ruin it. This song kind of reminds me of this image a little bit. It kind of looks like they're walking through kind of a wasteland of ashes. Two songs that have never sounded like Halo to me, back to back. And I'm actually glad these two were chosen together because, I mean, they might be related, but either way, they show like this huge diversity in between the soundtrack. So that's something. Well, I've definitely heard vocals in Halo before. It's like the first thing I've ever heard, the iconic main theme, but I've never heard of this style, this kind of childlike choir. To be honest, that sound to me has a very specific sort of scenery. A lot of it is what we're seeing here. When I think Ashes, obviously I think of the aftermath of war, explosions, all that, but also when you hear songs like that, just straight piano and childlike choir, losses of families and devastation. So it's kind of like a metaphorical. Ashes is just like destruction for everything. So, I mean, it doesn't seem too far-fetched, right? This whole game is centered around kind of space war, and especially in this case where Reach is about trying to exterminate humans, I guess. Now, one thing I don't know is these characters... Are we human? Is that a spoiler? I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen anyone under the suits. So I don't know if it's like an army, if they're like super soldiers, or they've been like frozen because it's so late in the future. I don't know, I don't know. Also, are they all in the future? I guess that would make sense. I mean, like, distant future. This one was 2500. I mean, it makes sense, right? With all the jumping around and everything. I don't know. I just have so many questions when it comes to Halo. Seriously, because, like I said, it's kind of like on par with Mario. Growing up with Sega and PlayStation, seeing Mario growing up parallel with him, like, oh, what's going on over there? Why is this plumber guy so popular? But same with Halo. I was like, what the heck? And as a teenager, like super opinionated, and you don't know anything. You just kind of like choose a side and whatever. But Halo was it just seemed like, and again, I don't mean any offense. I just was like, huh, like why that one? What made that one stand out besides Microsoft just like pushing it like crazy, which could have been it, because it was everywhere. I remember seeing, like, you can find on YouTube like Halo release parties, people in like Times Square and lining out the door. You know, it was a big deal. It was like on par with like GTA and stuff. So I don't know. I guess I underestimated it. But it's nice to hear. I think honestly, those two might be some of the best Halo songs I've heard. And they're both in this video. That was a big variety, and I love variety, but I just wasn't expecting the sheer variety here. So I'm curious. Talk whatever you want, Halo fans. Until next time we return to Halo, whenever that is. But cool. Thank you to the requesters, and thanks to everyone you see on stream. I couldn't be here without them. Video game music rules. My name is Jesse in the auditorium. Later.